That's very much a we want the Englishman to identify with the Arabian make character, sort of Arabian.
He also does not look like a wizard at all.
I can see where they're going with it.
So, what do we do now then? Do we have to do anything special for these 3 days?
Theodora just looks to you and says, you should prepare. The master wishes you to be ready for training to begin. If you have questions, I can answer them now. You should receive I messed this up already. Blah. This is what I get for trying to read ahead while talking.
Reading and talking is hard, to be fair.
Reading and talking at the same time is hard, and I'm not a physics researcher anymore, so I'm out of practice. But yeah, she goes, you are free to roam within the manor, within reason. These 3 days are for your rest, relaxation, and preparation for training. I am available now for any questions you may have. And when I leave, before I leave, I would ask that you let me know if there are any things that you require to be at your most effective. Within reason, price is not an object.
Of course. Anything's better than this stuff. Also, just holding up his little dagger and shield he scavenged off of guards.
Could you... I'm going to hold out the special dagger. Is there something special with this one?
Which dagger is that one?
It was the dagger we took off of I think it was the mage.
Yeah, the wizard guy, I think.
Right. The special dagger.
I mean, I do have detect magic prepared, so I can actually figure it out, I think. Do I have identify? Not that we're good, I can identify it.
It is not magical. Everyone can see as Theodora just looks at it and goes, yes, there's something exceptionally special about that dagger. Something that makes that dagger more valuable than almost any treasure in the plains. You tore it from the cold, dead hands of your enemy.
That was fun. I can get the list of stuff, and I can get my armor, and I can get more weapons. Oh, big brother, do you think you could build something for me, maybe?
You built you something?
I have an idea.
What kind of idea?
It's cool. It's like...
It's probably something I don't need to be here for. If you need time, you can present your slaves with a list of equipment.
Okay, we can do that.
Are there any questions you have for me before I get on with my work?
How long have you worked for the Lord?
I have worked for our master, your master, and mine, ever since he called and our infernal father answered.
Would the people upstairs happen to be our companions as well?
They are something else. It is not for me to say, it is for our master to say.
Thank you for helping us escape.
Yes, it was very kind of you, even though you did get us out just to help you.
Oh, how adorable.
Oh, I think we are fine for now.
Yeah, I'm good.
I certainly hope not. And she almost glides out of the room as she heads away.
Big brother, I have this cool idea. And you can build it. You build stuff, and you go whoosh, and crack, and things happen.
Sure, if it's within reason.
No, it's simple. You know those dirty things that I've seen the soft skins use? Those little throwing dark knives that kind of prick the scales and they hurt?
Yes.
What if you can make something that you could load with those darts, and then just, like, if I flick my wrist or tug on it, darts come into my hands, so I don't have to keep reaching into a belt to draw it. I could load them with darts. That way I could just keep throwing them without having to, like, waste time having to reach for them.
I could do you better than that.
Better? Big wide smile like eager kid in the candy store. Look.
You see that dagger you have in your hand there?
Mm-hmm.
I can make it come back to you no matter how far away you throw it.
Very high-pitched E.
But for now, we should probably get some rest. I can do it for you in the morning.
Can you do two?
I could do two.
Two is cooler than one. You gotta have two, otherwise it doesn't look as good. And I have to look good when I'm killing people, otherwise they won't think I'm awesome when I'm murdering them.
For now, I think one's good enough, though.
But, ooh. I mean, I guess I could hold one in my hand and not throw it, and then just throw the other one, just keep throwing it, I guess. But it's not as cool.
I don't have much in the way of resources, and I would like something for myself, too.
But you're the smart person who does other things. I'm the stabby, assassinate. I'm the one who protects you.
I'm not so bad with a weapon myself.
Well, I mean, you're okay with it, but, I mean, you're really bad at sneaking. You should really work on that.
That's what you're for.
Can't do anything, though, when you draw everyone's attention. You're like a big walking green sign going, shoot arrows here.
I mean, if I draw their attention, that means they're not focused on you. You can stab them in the back.
But then they're focused on you, and I can't get in position.
Look, all
I gave you a hug?
It's not going to.
But it's the little brother hug of love. That's like worth like 5 throwing daggers.
And besides, what if I'm not making a weapon for myself? What if I'm making a shield?
I guess that's okay.
In layman's terms, out of character, Tom, I can only make 2 infusions.
I know, but you would still do this.
I'm not making both of your weapons returning.
Speaking of out of character things, at this point, you two can get your starting equipment for your class, and you'll additionally can select up to 200 gold pieces of gear appropriate to your class.
So, do we just automatically get the starting equipment?
Yeah, it'll be delivered to you over the course of the next few days. Like the starting equipment plus 200 GP of gear is essentially what Theodora is going to have the slaves deliver.
For the 200 additional, does it have to be a specific weapon I can use right this second, or can it be a weapon I can use later?
It should be gear appropriate to your class, usable now.
This stuff we should be ready to use to make sure we're at our best.
Yes.
Because by the time I hit level 3, I would have the ability to use martial instead of just simple weapons.
That'll be when we get to the 3 then. We might be able to put another order in.
Mm-hmm.
So, I get stuff. Ooh.
What
armor?
And equipment. Starting equipment.
I mean, you can feel free to roleplay as long as you want. I just want to make sure that I don't forget to let you know that this is not just we want 5 gold pieces worth of stuff. It's you finally get that starting equipment that I told you you didn't get. Actually, scratch that. So this is actually, it's slightly different because this is a 5e conversion. You have 200 gold to spend on gear and any equipment your class would give that is necessary for your class, you get above and beyond. So like a spell book or things like that.
Okay. I'm just going to pick up my stuff.
Yeah.
Studded leather armor.
Studded leather armor, nice.
Oh yeah, what about armor? So I am proficient in medium armor.
I'm a dumb bitch.
What?
So, a few months ago, I followed someone on Twitter who was posting and retweeting a lot of really cool She-Ra fan art. And I've been following and interacting with her tweets for like half a year now. And then over the last week or so, I've been seeing a lot of retweets of Noelle Stevenson, the creator of She-Ra. And it just now dawned on me that the Noelle Stevenson creator of She-Ra, the Noelle Stevenson creator of She-Ra at Ginger Hazing is the same Noelle Stevenson at Ginger Hazing I've been following and interacting with on Twitter for 6 months. I am stupid. How can I be so smart and so stupid? Also, watch the new She-Ra if you have not. It's homework.
What medium armor do I want? Well, actually, it's within 200. So it's within 200 200 gold, so I'm definitely going for the chain shirt. Because the breastplate is 400. So, chain shirt. Let me get a calculator up so I can just fucking have my shit written down. 200 minus 50 for my chain shirt. Why is a short sword a martial weapon?
Because it is. Simple weapons are like clubs and stuff.
Yeah, I know. That being said, in Pathfinder, short swords are simple weapons.
Yeah.
I guess I'm getting a hand axe for 5 GP.
Cool. And apparently, according to this book, I'm not supposed to tell you how much you have to spend, and I'm supposed to have the slave meekly ask what you want, and then Theodora spends up to the limit, and then it's just like, no. But that just seems like... That seems like a waste of everyone's time.
So it's kind of fascinating.
I mean, that is certainly what happens. Your slave is meekly asking, what equipment do you require, and then running and telling Theodora. And once you have everything, like, the next thing you think of is the thing where they go, we cannot acquire anything else in time. Yes.
I was rolling the wrong damage dice.
What do you?
They do a D8. I thought for some reason they did a D6.
I thought they did a D6 as well.
Yeah, I think I was going off of my, because I actually added the rapier to my character sheet now. It's a 1D8 plus 6 for me.
Yeah. The 1D8 from that, and then it's your dex for damage. Rapiers are amazing.
Yeah.
Let's see,
How,
what else do I want?
how much does a scroll of cure what the spell is? Cure wounds is.
A scroll.
It's a scroll of cure wounds.
Cure Wounds is a first level spell, so that's common. So it would be 50 gold pieces.
That's a pretty good deal. I'll get 2 scrolls of that. So minus 100.
Rope.
It's
Rope. I am buying rope.
So, sure. When you say rope, the slave returns with silk rope.
Oh. Okay. I don't have to buy it.
We'll count the cost of the hemp rope from the 200 GP, but the second you say that, the slave goes, "Yes, master," and returns with this fine red silk rope, kneels and holds it out to you, and then once you take it, continues kneeling. and continues kneeling.
I like these. They're good. Pats his head.
I don't know
Who's a
if the
good slave? Yes, you are.
I don't know if the rope went over the player's head because I was vague, or the player's doing calculation, or the player just didn't see the sake of mentioning it.
Nope, he did. He wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah. I know Goran wouldn't have noticed. I was wondering if Tom had noticed.
Oh, I did.
Oh yeah, Tinker Tools. I need some of those.
Tinker tools would be things that you need for your class. They do not count against the 200 GP.
Oh.
They are just provided because obviously you need them.
Yay, Tinker Tools.
Yeah. So you'll get Tinker tools and a full, nice new matching set of chef's tools in a travel case.
I got my Masterwork Thieves tools, so I'm happy.
Yes. If you don't have those will come to you as part of your class.
Let's see, what other things that would be useful to us?
Well, I have my backpack, chain shirt, cook utensils, hand axe, shield, tinker tools, 2 cure wound scrolls.
2 cure wound scrolls is like half your allotment right there.
Yeah. But, kind of need them. I have 2 spell slots at level 1. So if I need to use spells, and I happen to run out of spell slots, those will be handy for healing us.
Cool.
Ooh, is there poisons that I could buy?
You look up and you ask, are there poisons? And the servant goes, I will ask. And so this is going to be where you're told that that it will be a little difficult to obtain within the time period.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming you want a contact poison.
Yes.
The cheapest contact poison is 200 gold.
Oof.
It's really good, oi.
Is it good?
The save's not the highest, but it's a save or be paralyzed for a minute.
Save or die against me.
Yeah. The other one is save or fall unconscious. Oh, those are contact poisons. Injury is what you want. But the cheapest injury is still 200.
Okay.
Save or fall unconscious. Save or take 42 points of damage.
So I'm getting his poison is pretty good.
Poison is good.
His poison.
It's, poison doesn't do ability damage anymore. For the most part.
Trying to see if there's any other items.
I bought myself a I bought myself a burglar's pack.
There you go.
It's got a hammer, crowbars, bag of ball bearings.
I know, my son bought himself one over the weekend.
I got some arrows, a crossbow bolt, some crossbow bolts, a case for them. I have a light crossbow, my dagger and rapier, some silk rope, my short bow, and my armor.
Excellent. And all of these items that you get are just the highest quality. They're not quite masterwork, but you know, it's very clear that these are new from high-end craftsmen.
They certainly don't skimp on things, do they?
So this is obviously going to be a very small part of the first couple of days. It'll be mostly the beginning of the end of the second day, beginning of the third, when these supplies start to arrive.
Jesus Christ, I forgot I can only hold 80. I forgot I can only hold 90 pounds.
Well,
yeah, I was careful on that one for me.
I had to remove some of my stuff.
well, what do you want to do for these first 2 days?
Probably explore a bit.
Sure.
Oh, can you do once I get my shiny new crossbow, I'm going to run over to my brother.
Well, that'll be on the evening of the second day.
Okay. Then first day, I want to explore the place. I want to get to know everything.
All right.
Let's start exploring.
I need to just double check, make sure I don't have any open doors I don't want to open. Real lickety split. Close you. Close you. Okay. We can now explore. You can drag your token where you want to be dragged to. I found my address, this thorn token that I made earlier.
Nice.
So, yeah, you explore off over here. It's a nice room with 2 tables. And there's actually a giant throne at the back of this room.
Bow before me, subject. That's cool.
Yeah, and if you want to drag your slave with you, the slave will follow you. And when you go, bow my subject, the slave will drop and kowtow.
This is great.
I think Dirk would probably go upstairs.
All right. Let's take you upstairs.
I'd probably follow too once I realized he was going.
Can Dern see? I'm sorry?
I cannot.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about. Vision is day. Expose visible area. Ownership has sight. Dark vision. I don't know why you're not being able to see. NPC, PC, ownership on. Map vision, night. This is weird. Gorlin can see. Turn off vision. Turn on vision. Make you an NPC. Like, this is really weird.
I can see when you move me. I just can't.
Yeah, I know, and that's why it's really, really weird.
Yep. What happens if you drag Gorn up there?
We lose Gorin too.
So it's not us, it's this area of the map.
Weird. And restore Fog of War. Expose only currently visible. Like, this is not vision blocked. It should all be visible. I'm gonna vision block and unvision block it. This is bizarre. Let's save the campaign. I'm going to exit map tool, which will kill the server. Reload map tool. I'll also kick my map tool recording off to my token tool, apparently. Okay. Reload you. We're not on the server. Doesn't work. Campaign properties. Is that what I want? I want preferences. Tokens. You were able to see earlier when you were in your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
It works when I take you into your bedroom. It just doesn't work in the hallway.
Which is weird, because we can also have seen in the hallway, too.
Yeah. All I did was block that off. That doesn't do it. Okay, I'm going to map vision night. Make sure you have dark vision. I haven't started the server yet because I'm still doing debugging. I'm going to give you a torch. For some reason, it's just this area. Once again, I'm going to try vision blocking everything and unblock it. And that seems to have fixed it. So I'm going to just quickly grab a proxy token and run it around where you've been to re-reveal some things. Apparently, okay, I shut that door, which is meant to be open presently. Okay, I will restart the server. I have no clue what the hell happened there. That is weird. Oh, and it killed all of that. Good job. Moving around fake Dern for a moment. Okay. So, yeah, you've made your way upstairs.
Oh, there we go.
No clue what the fuck happened. luxurious upstairs area. Oh no, you can see the shitting room now because I liked that to make it work.
The shitting room.
Yeah, there's baths. There's your bedroom.
I'm going to kind of go over this way where I can see people.
Yeah. You can see some people who are kind of sitting quietly in a room discussing things with one another.
Peek head in slowly looking at them.
As you do, they get quiet and they turn and look at you.
Hi.
No, brother, it's rude to peek in at them. Introduce yourself.
I'm Gord.
Yes, go and... Oh, that's not a good one. Let me get some water in my throat and then try to do her voice as I hear it in my head. Yes, yes, Gorin. Nice. I see you, yes.
My name is Burns.
Hops
Pleasure to
off
meet
the table here. Yeah. Turn, going. Yes, it's a pleasure. Come, take a seat. I am failing at doing, like, Natasha Romanov here. As you come in, you can see all four of these people are dressed in almost identical white and blue outfits. 3 men, 2 of them utterly identical to one another. And this woman with her albino raven sitting on her shoulder. What can I get for you today?
Nothing in particular. I just thought it would be a good idea to meet the other residents of this manor.
Oh, we're not residents. We've been brought in for work. I don't know how much I can say. Let me introduce myself. I am Elise Zadaria. This is my god. She points to this man here. The powerful and silent Dostan Elfson. She points to this next one of the 2 identical brothers here. The gorgeous and perfectly skilled Track Rackburn. And my most trusted Trick. And you can see that this brother rolls his eyes a little, and he's the only one who has something that isn't like blue and white. Everyone else, it's blue, white, blue, white. He's got the same blue, white, almost uniform, but you can see hanging outside of the uniform right now on a golden chain is a small black holy symbol of Asmodeus studded with rubies.
It's a pleasure to meet all of you.
Hello, nice to meet you.
They nod. And Trick here just looks around a little and rolls his eyes and goes, you know, in a very local accent. He doesn't have the strange accent that she has. Doesn't seem like they're going to be any threat. Yes, pleasure to meet, etc., etc., etc. And he comes over here and sits down, kind of tapping his feet, almost anxious. While Track goes, Brother, there's no need to be rude, and sits down at the table, scooting his chair a little bit closer to Elise than it had been when he sat, while Dostin just stands, arms crossed, in the middle of the room, staring.
Oh, the two of you are brothers? That's a fun coincidence. Me and Gorn here are brothers as well.
Track goes, yep.
Gorn here is the one who does all the stabbing. I tend to do the planning and deal with any magical things.
Elise laughs and goes, then Gorin is very much like Trick, and Dern is very much like me. Although I think Trick has a little bit of Dern, because Trick does the magic. And Track does the sneaking. Yes. Well, may the endless winter smile upon all of you. Well, it will, whether you wish it does or not.
And may Lady Luck smile upon you.
She just smiles. And it's not a I like you smile, it's a sort of I'm polite and sizing up the competition smile. So do you know? Well, no. That's not the right question. I don't think it's appropriate, all things considered, to ask that question. Instead, what did you, charming little brothers, do to attract our master's attention? I assume he is our master, yes?
I killed a lot of soft skins.
Out of character, what is a really important item to the Church of Mitra? Because my thing that got me in prison is high theft.
Yes. You attempted to steal something very important to the Church of Mistra, huh? That's right, we were going to have like a little chat about this and then we never did. Give me one moment to look ahead here. And let's see. I'm looking through a book to try to see if there's anything cool here that I might want to give you. What are you? So there's something, I have something here that would have been in the possession of the Church of Mitra. But I don't know if it would be considered important to them. Would that be acceptable to you?
Sure. If it's something like valuable. Maybe
It
not
would-
like valuable to them, but like in general valuable.
How would you feel about trying to steal the old throne of the former kings?
That sounds like a good thing.
Yeah. The throne of the former kings.
Well, I attempted to steal the throne of the former kings.
Attempted?
It didn't go exactly as I planned.
Interesting. An attempt caught his attention. How adorable. Yes.
I mean, it wasn't the first thing I stole, but it won't be the last either.
I see. Well, we attracted his attention with success.
And what success did?
She looks at the two of you as you speak over each other and then both stop to let the other speak.
You can go first, Gorn.
We escaped Brandiscar, and I killed just about every one of the guards there.
She is just looking at you like, okay. But you can see Track's eyes widen, and he leans over to her, and she flinches away a little as he does, like, don't try to do something weird, but kind of stops as she realizes he's whispering into her ear. And as he does, she goes, "Oh, I see. So that's what drew his attention, not the failed thievery. Ah. We attracted his attention. Then we raided a paladin's tomb in nearby Asteria. Apparently, it was a paladin who had wronged him. A matron. He was very impressed. In truth, I was less impressed with him, but Trick seems to think it's important, and I like the idea of being a princess.
It's certainly a grand idea.
Yes. Perhaps Asmodeus's fires can keep the people warm when the endless winter comes. Perhaps.
Endless winter?
Yes. She comes. She cannot be stopped. She cannot be prevented. And in time, she will steal the heat of all things. And as Elise says that, she leans over and kisses Gorin on the forehead. Does Gorin permit it?
Sure.
Would you please take 3 cold damage?
Cold.
Yeah. As, literally you start to freeze from Elise's kiss, and she leans back again.
I do not want to be a kobold sickle.
Well, Trick does think the fires of hell can stand against the endless winter. Don't you, Trick? And Trick kind of stands up and walks back and forth going, yes, yes, yes. You know, almost as though he's not really interested in this conversation and has something else he'd rather be doing but can't. You know how kids are when they really want to go home and play a video game, but they can't.
He's been going stir crazy.
Yes. He does indeed seem a little stir crazy.
Are you guys going to be, are we going to be working together?
Elise says, not that I've been told. I'm told that, well, we've recently finished our training. And as she says training, you can see kind of all four of them get that Vietnam flashback look in their eyes. We're told that in 3 days we will be receiving our mission when we've had time to finish recovering. You've just arrived. The adorable little ones have their training before them. I pray you survive. To which Trick turns from across the room and goes, if they're worthy of serving our infernal lord and master by means of his high priest Adrastus Thorn, then they will survive. And if they don't survive, they were never worthy.
You shouldn't underestimate us wee little ones.
Oh, wee little ones. You shouldn't underestimate the tests of our master. As Dostan from behind goes, indeed, I would have considered myself very strong before, and I do not consider myself particularly powerful at present. Dostan being this one who has not really spoken until now.
Well, power isn't everything. Sometimes you just need careful planning and cunning.
And then stabbing, or shooting, or poison, or pushing someone off the ledge, or rope. Rope is so good at so many different things. You can hang someone, you can garrosh them, you can rip them apart by tying it between two horses.
As Trick comes over and kneels down and goes, yes. And then I can't think of more creative ways, but Trick starts also running down creative ways to use rope in horrific manners.
And now proceeds the contest of one-upping Trick by coming up with even more insane ways of using rope to kill people in horrific, horrific ways.
As Darren just looked at the other three, we're getting along fine.
Elise goes, I think we have different definitions of power. I agree that cleverness and cunning are the source of most power. I also think you'll do well with your own Trick. At a certain point, the conversation, I imagine, goes from poisons into knives and then ropes and poisons.
When it goes to knives and swords, he pulls out his dagger and knife and mimes slashing the air. It's like, and then there was this one guard. I jumped out and just started hacking him to bits. It only took a few seconds and he was just like mincemeat. And all the other guards were just absolutely terrified before I started running them through. It was so much fun.
And he will respond with a wonderful story about his foolish matron who came into his home and he says, and she didn't even have her servant sample the wine first. And as she lay unconscious, I peeled her skin off to the praise and glory of our Lord Asmodeus.
Wait, I've heard people taking skins off of like kobolds and animals, but you can do that with soft skins too?
You can do that with anything. As he leans over and brushes a hand along your cheek. I would love your skin. So shining.
Well, I'm kind of using it right now, but what if I murdered my kobold rivals and gave you their skin? Or, better, I capture them and then we can have fun doing that while they're still alive.
Yes.
You could teach me more about Asmodeus? I don't know much about him.
I would love to. And Trick starts going full fire and brimstone sermon. Dern and Gorin can both make insight checks. I'm going to say Gorin is at disadvantage here.
Okay. Insight. At disadvantage.
Doran? Dern. I combined your names. Dern, you notice two things almost immediately about Trick. One, this guy is an absolute psychopath. And two, this guy seems to be falling in love with your brother.
What?
Then we're just gonna idly half comment now, hands off the merchandise.
But I'm not merchandise. I steal the merchandise and kill the person who owns the merchandise.
As Trick is, not actually touching Gorin, but standing up and, doing the fire and brimstone, fist in the air as he discusses the glories of Asmodeus, the power of the strong, the right of the strong to do whatever they will to the weak, and how it's proven by their success. As he points at Gorin and goes, even you are strong. You have shown it here.
Gorin is grinning, his tail's wagging back and forth.
With meek flesh and clever mind, you take all and rend them asunder. Power, and with it the right to do as you will with those beneath you. Nay, the responsibility.
What's the best way to do offerings to him?
Well, Trick runs you through his preferred method of sacrificing humans to Asmodeus.
Wait, can I do that when I'm fighting people? Can I sacrifice them to Asmodeus as I murder them?
Gorin can understand, as Trick describes, that Trick, every one of those murders Trick described earlier when you were doing your back and forth, was a sacrifice to Asmodeus, and they were all, bloody, gruesome ritual, skin them alive and chop them into little bits and burn them on the altar things.
Wait, so you mean worshipping is actually just having fun? And you get to worship a god and do all that while having fun? I'm going to look over at my brother. Why wasn't I ever told about this? I would have been a great worshiper.
Trick grabs Gorin's hands and goes, "Perhaps one day you will be."
Had I known this, I would have sacrificed all of them at the prison.
Well, I'm sure opportunities will come once more.
And then, next time we meet, I will share all of the stories of all the sacrifices to Asmodeus I make, and I will find even more inventive ways to do it, and I will out-invent you. It'll be our contest to see who can sacrifice more people and better ways to sacrifice people to Asmodeus.
Elise goes, "Ahem, Trick." And Trick stops and turns. "Yes, lady?" "Trick, I don't think we can afford the attention. I'm afraid you'll have to decline the little one's competition."
Then I'll just have to work twice as hard to sacrifice twice as people to make up for the people that you can't sacrifice. I'll sacrifice half of them in your name for Asmodeus.
Keep in mind, Gorin, we can't make too big of a fuss ourselves.
I mean, I'm just doing my thing, protecting you, big brother. If it happens to involve horrific maiming of mortals, I mean, 2 birds, 1 stone.
And you can protect me without going out of your way to make such a big mess.
But what if I clean it up afterwards?
More than likely I would be the one cleaning it up.
Inner details.
And you can see Elise and Track both look to you, Dern, with a, "Oh, we see you have to deal with the same thing we do."
Also, I want to say, totally shipping the Trick Gorin train right now.
Well, let's just say, if that's something that Gorin wants to do, there is 3 days and a lot of empty bedrooms. I would prefer to have it happen a little off screen, and you can write a fanfic about it if you like.
Fanfic of Gorin and Trick.
I ship it.
Would that be Grick, or would that be Torin? I think Grick sounds better.
Torin sounds a little like torrid. Which, to be fair, Grick is a little torrid. But yeah. With the awkwardness of these two doing that, Elise is going to be giving Dern the little, "Get your brother out of here, please."
Well, I hate to separate you two lovebirds, but we need to get going, Gorin.
Okay. I'll see you later, Trick. I'll try to come up with more cool things and give you ideas.
Anytime. Anytime I can hear your words of wisdom and gaze upon your beauteous flesh.
As I said, hands off the merchandise.
But what if I wanted to possibly touch the merchandise?
You can touch the merchandise later. For now, let's go.
And on your way out, you can hear, almost at the same time, Trick say, "I like them," and Track say, "I don't trust them."
I feel like Trick also wants to murder me in some way, but I feel like that's also feeling of, hey, he really likes me.
Oh yeah, Trick is totally yandere.
No, I'm not gonna have a you know here.
Oh God, you know. God, Gain-kun.
It's a good thing I'm the one with the hand axe and not him.
Gosh, my Minecraft skin has been for years, and about November last year, my kids watched Future Diary because they found it on Hulu, and it just clicked like 2 weekends ago with my son that my Minecraft skin was and he just looks at me and goes, "Why?" And I'm just like, Gyeon-kun. And my daughter threw her stuffed elephant at me. Which I think she only keeps at this point so she can throw it at me when I embarrass her. Yeah. So there's a couple more days. If there's anything else that either of you want to do.
On the second day after I get my crossbow, I might take it to my brother and go, "Can you do anything cool with this?"
Well, do you want the returning knife, or do you want really fast, infinite shooting crossbow?
Infinite shooting crossbow.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
You now have a repeating shot crossbow.
What's that one do? +1?
+1 to all attack rolls, ignores the loading property of the weapon. And if you do not load in any munition, it will produce a singular magical ammo to shoot from that will instantly disappear if it hits or misses.
So I can make 2 shots then within a turn?
If you have the attacks for it, yes.
Okay.
It doesn't give you extra attacks.
It does not give you. Just make it so you don't have to load it. And you don't have to worry about ammunition.
So speaking of crossbows, do you carry your crossbow at any point out in that little upstairs lobby area?
Yes.
Trick will be like, "I got one too," and will show you his crossbow.
And it's like, my brother did something special to it, and he tinkered with it, and now I can shoot, and it'll just keep shooting. I don't have to reload it, and it'll keep making arrows for me to shoot.
He says, "Show me." And as he takes out his crossbow, loads an arrow, and fires it at the door across the way.
Turns. I know I can't make that many attacks in a round, but...
Yeah. So, essentially, the two of you are firing at, I do believe, the same rate. What is the reload?
Doesn't loading take an action?
That's what I need to double check. No, actually loading means that you may only take one attack with it even if you have more than one attack.
So he would be shooting much faster.
So, Trick and Goran are essentially firing at the same rate, but Trick is doing a lot more work going fire, click, click, load, fire, click, click, load, and down, and Goran is just going fire, fire, fire. And the two of you having a great time.
I would just imagine Darren is just watching it, sitting like leaning against the wall.
Yeah, and at some point Elise will be back there leaning next to you, watching it kind of with a okay. And eventually Trick runs out of bolts and has to run over and pluck his bolts back from the door. Does Gorin keep firing when Trick goes to get his bolts?
Can I do an insight check? Would he want me to do that if he went to go get his bolts? Would he be into that?
Is he that kinky?
You're not really sure. I mean, there's only one way to find out. What's Gorin going to do to him?
Should I make an attack roll?
So what is Gorin attempting to do as Gorin shoots?
Pin his... I'm not trying to actually hurt him, but pin his arm to the wall as he reaches to... up by his clothes.
That wouldn't necessarily works, considering how the infusion works.
No, I'm aiming at it, though.
Yes, but the ammo immediately disappears, whether it hits or misses.
Hey, let's make the roll.
I might realize that. Keep in mind, I'm stupid.
Go ahead, make the attack roll.
Okay. Let me just double check my crossbow.
It's +1 to attack damage, by the way.
Okay. That will be my crossbow.
Yeah. So you don't end up going to his sleeve. As he goes to pluck that bolt, you fire and you go right into the middle of his hand where, his fingers are closing on the bolt, so his fingers close on your bolt instead. And then your bolt dissolves away. And yeah, he's into it. As he plucks the bolt around, drops down to one knee, loads, and fires towards you.
It does not hit. Barely. It goes over and almost scratches one of my scales as it whizzes over my head.
As Elise goes, "Whoa now." And Theodora comes running up the stairs saying, "That's enough. Damaging the house is one thing, but I cannot have you damage one another." I do not want to clean up after the wrath of hell unending.
I wasn't trying. That was where we were playing.
Yes. He is so... The small one is so lithe. Theodora just stands in the middle with a look of murder on her face as she turns towards Dern and Elise. Keep your murderers in line, please. And Elise goes, "Yes, of course, I will."
Yes, ma'am. Gorin, no more shooting at Trick.
Okay.
Trick looks longingly at Gorin down the sight of his crossbow, going, And then Trick leans down the stairs and shouts, "What of the slaves?" And you can hear Theodora's voice whispering in the room. "I suppose they're replaceable?" And Trick looks to Elise. What does Gorin do?
He Big wide smile. And then very shyly walks up over to Trick, looks up at him with like wide, happy kobold eyes. Maybe you could show me how to properly sacrifice to Asmodeus?
And for the first time, you see that slave stop smiling. And Theodora's voice comes, "Only your slave. We don't have an infinite supply." And Elise goes, "Fine. If it's all right with you, Dern, let them blow off their steam on this little halfling."
Sure, but remember, Goran, you won't have another slave if you kill this one.
That is true.
As Trick goes, "But do you need a slave?"
True, I've done everything all by myself anyway. I can get my own food and such.
We flash back to the slave coming, going, "It's time for food. What would you like?" And where Dern is like, "Oh, bring me this." Goran is like, "Yes!" and runs to the kitchen with the slave following.
I like to imagine that. "Oh, bring me this." Dern literally just snaps his finger and has his human carry him downstairs.
Dern is carried everywhere these 3 days, fed, and like where Goran goes and like chops up his own meat, Dern is just like, "Oh yes, feed me that. That looks nice."
I picked the big human for a reason.
Well, I guess Goran took the little halfling for a reason. As Elise just goes, "Not in the room." And clean up afterwards.
And while you do that, I'm going to work on one of my things.
Alright. Well, Goran, where do you and Trick want to do this?
Where do you think the best place could be? What do we want to do? There's so many different things we could try.
Trick goes, "We need to have an altar and a circle prepared." And Trick grabs one of the slaves that just are going about the thing and goes, "Where is the ritual room for the master?" And the slave goes, "I don't know. I will ask the lady." And a few minutes later, Theodora comes up these back stairs and goes, "Oh dear, you're actually going to... All right, please, bind him before he realizes. I'm fairly certain the enchantments won't hold." As the slave, who is not smiling, starts to look around and go, wait, where am I?"
This is why I have rope!
Well, why don't you go ahead here and,
Sleight of hand?
I do believe that would be it. Yes.
I just imagine like a cartoon dust cloud shooting up as he dives on the halfling. This is why I have rope.
And as you do, the halfling immediately starts screaming. No, I have a wife, I have children. Why have you done this to me?
Well, I mean, you guys guys like to kill kobolds all the time, and you just call us pests and monsters, and you raid our warrants, steal our treasure, so I mean, fair's fair, right?
He's just sobbing, I am a blacksmith. And Theodora goes, you haven't been a blacksmith for 5 years. As she walks down these stairs.
Worry? We're gonna make you useful.
And
you should be honored.
Continues walking down the stairs. As these back stairs kind of spiral around and down again. Into the basement.
Doing this.
As with usual, if you or I or anyone gets too uncomfortable, we can fade to black.
That's fine for now.
And there certainly will probably be a point where that happens.
Maybe. Not from me. More than likely it's going to be one of you two who gets too uncomfortable.
Oh, it's totally going to be me. Yeah. She leads you over here, where there's this beautiful little sitting room and dining table in the basement. And she comes over to this beautiful tapestry on the wall, slides it aside, grabs a little brick, pulls it, and a secret door opens. In which Theodora goes, well, do clean up when you're finished. And heads out. She's almost smiling for the first time, not sarcastically, as she says, clean up when you finish.
Is she actually happy we're doing this?
I'm sorry?
Is she actually happy we're doing this?
You may make an insight check. She seems joyous. There's no conflicted emotions about this at all, and no ulterior motives.
100%. No ulterior motives.
She's totally, got the good old yay Jesus going on.
Totally. He's 100%. Not trying to convert Gorn.
On the contrary, Gorn gets the sense that that's exactly what's going on, is that she's down here like, oh yes, praise Asmodeus.
Oh, wait. There's someone who wants to make living sacrifices to him? Oh, yes, please. Come. I will happily help you do this.
I would like to
that is not a statue of Orcus like it is here. That's a statue of Asmodeus, who is a beautiful, tall, red-skinned humanoid in flowing robes with curved horns. And then there's the altar.
I just imagine, him stopping and staring at the statue for a second, reaches up, touches his horns for a second, then touches his red skin. Does he have a tail?
He does. It's one of those long, thin devil tails with a little triangle on the end. So it's not like your tail, but there is a tail.
He's like so handsome. He's different, but also, yes.
As Trick looks to the statue and looks to you and goes, my, you are a mighty dragon in Asmodeus' image. And Trick will go through the very detailed and intricate ritualized sacrifice of your slave, and will attempt to also induct Goran into a cult of Asmodeus as an Asmodean.
Yeah.
So this involves not just that, but like drawing the holy symbol of Asmodeus on your forehead in the slave's blood, and just, yeah. I would say make a couple steps down towards evil, but you're already there.
And I would like to imagine that just like a juxtaposition of like them fucking doing a sacrifice. Darren has gone into the bathroom, into the bathtub area, sitting in like a warm bath with like his little like magic infused his magic tinkering items, making nice smells as he just relaxes in the tub.
Okay, so I want to say this was like totally planned out, but the irony here is, I put the 18 that I rolled into wisdom because it's like, hey, he's kind of like he's not smart, but he's wise, and it's like, well, he's not really going to use wisdom that much. It's not like super important. And now I'm just looking at this going, he has an 18 wisdom. I kind of want to go into cleric now with him.
Yes.
I really kind of want to go into cleric with him.
And just to make sure that Goran is down, this whole induction thing also includes mingling Goran's blood and Trick's blood and the blood in the slave to create the thing that gets drawn on Goran's forehead.
I'm okay with that.
All right. And
I am learning from Senpai. Senpai noticed me.
You'll at the end of all this, you will walk away with your own brand new, freshly carved bone unholy symbol of Asmodeus.
Like he's just holding it, just looking like he just like won the world.
Yeah.
Bouncing up and down.
As you return to your room where your brother's in a bathrobe, relaxing after a luxurious bath, and you're like, you have blood on your head and you're holding this thing carved from a sternum. I should probably give you Asmodeus' tenants. So, because Asmodeus is a god of law as well as a god of evil. So much Asmodeus lore.
I actually know a lot of his lore.
Yes. We need to make sure that we get the correct
You know what I just realized, kid?
because you will be given the Pact Primeval lore.
Kid, I just realized something funny.
What?
So Baron is smiled on by Lady Luck, which is Tiamora. I am worshipping a goddess with the exact opposite alignment of me. She is chaotic good, unlawful evil.
Well, that might be why you're not getting a lot of
Luck.
yeah. So
I'm gonna go level 3 just so I can get my assassin, and I might actually just go full cleric.
That means you can do like a healer.
So
Like I could see that really actually fitting for him. I know multi-classing isn't like what you should do, but I feel like it fits here with this.
I am down for it. Also, I have just seen the tenants, and they are okay. Like, I already knew them, and they're here, And I had just forgotten that they were what they were. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So here are the... Do you want me to give you the tenets of Asmodeus now, or do you want me to write them for you? Why don't I read them?
Write them for me later?
Why don't I read them for you? And when you inevitably don't remember them correctly, that's Goran not remembering them correctly.
Okay.
Deception is a tool. Master it. Discover what is real and what is illusion. Fear nothing save our dread Lord. Where's the next one? But I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong list. Here we go. Reset. Number 1. Deception is a tool. Self-deception is death. Deceive always thy enemy, but never thyself.
Okay.
Number 2. Following the herd is for fools. Fear not their icy derision, instead fear only thy infernal lord.
Okay.
Number 3. Know thy enemy. Shatter all that blinds you, and burn thy adversary to ashes. Number 4, maybe the one that you and Trick have trouble with. Cruelty is a tool, not a pastime. Be ruthless to thy enemy, but reward those who serve thee well.
Okay.
5. The chosen are revealed by their might. The weak deserve no sympathy.
Cry is in 6 strength.
6. Suffer not the fool. Stupidity is cardinal sin.
Well, Gordon's a sinner then.
7. Secrecy is our greatest ally. Exposure brings death.
I'll be right back.
8. Beware the fallen, for they may rise once more to threaten you. And 9. Serve thy infernal master well, and be rewarded. And those are the 9 tenets.
Okay.
How's Goran feel about these?
Pretty excited. Pretty excited.
Goran's like,
I'm back.
this should be kobold religion. I don't know why it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can fade to back and return you to your upstairs rooms. Assuming that there's nothing else that's going to go on between Trick and Gorin that we need to fade to black over.
Maybe a little bit.
Oh my.
We're having some tomfuckery here.
Yes.
Quite literally.
Boo. Also, I look forward to reading the fanfic. Also, boo. Yeah. Gorin will return covered in blood and reeking of sweat and reeking of sex.
As Dern will be completely fresh and clean and with like 3 random objects smell like that emanate the smell of roses around him.
Does Dern want the slave to like massage him and such?
Yes. Dern is getting his just like everything taken care of.
Yes.
Bath, massage.
That said, Dern can tell that his slave is not as happy as it was before. There's a little bit of a tinge of fear now.
Well, I had my bath. It seems like it'd be a good time for you to have yours, Gorin.
But.
Bat.
Okay. Yeah, well, this actually follows the demand of secrecy. I should hide this. Okay. Flash. As he kind of flicks his tail off as he looks at his brother, do you think I could make this a little more spaded?
What do you mean spaded?
Like Asmodeus' tail.
Oh, you're flicking your tail at him. Okay.
Uh-huh.
This won't last forever, but Darren will like trail off as he casts disguise self on. Can I cast disguise self on Gorn?
Can you?
Disguise. Let me actually look that up. No, it's only on myself. I can't. Sad face. I don't know prestidigitation.
So at about this time, sounds like a great idea, a great time for this next thing that will happen at the end of the day. A slave will come with 2 red cushions, and upon each is a small iron circlet with a holy symbol of Asmodeus upon the front. And it will kneel and hold them out to the 2 of you and say, "Gifts from our master, Adrastus Thorn."
Well, at least I can identify it.
They are magical. I forget if identify in 5e is automatic or if it is a check modifier. So many systems, you can never keep them straight. You learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use and how many charges it has. So, if I go to my homebrew creations, I do believe I have made this. Let me check before I hand that to you. Let me quickly edit this to make sure that there. So if you go to your items and look for iron circlet, you should be able to add that to your sheets, I hope.
Yep. The wonders item.
Yes. It is a iron circlet that you may use to alter your appearance with a disguise self spell. It's essentially a hat of disguise, but it's an iron circlet.
So I can make myself look more like Asmodeus as a kobold.
Yes.
The squeak that escapes him is enough to cause many rats to go running.
Yes. You may disguise self.
Yep. Immediately, once he learns how to do this, he immediately starts looking more like Asmodeus as a kobold.
So his horns kind of turn around and bend backwards instead of forwards, and the tail goes a little thinner with a sharp, pointy, devilish end. Everything a little more sleek. Who keeps emailing me?
Good. As I wear my new holy symbol around my neck proudly.
Just make sure you don't go flashing that around when we actually go into public areas.
No, I won't.
Does Dern want to do anything with this?
I think for now, at most, you just disguise it so he doesn't have that big, scorched F in his arm.
Alrighty then.
When we get into more public environments, he will change his disguise and be better. But I'll be right back, because I think there's food.
Food.
I'm gonna go throw food on real quick, too.
And I will sit here and go, I wish that my Tupperware had arrived today so I could open my massive crate of pasta and have spaghetti for dinner. Alas, it has not. Oh, the travails of buying groceries at the restaurant supply store. Or on the upside, there's no frickin' losers with no little losers fighting over toilet paper. I don't think people know that you can just kind of walk into those places and buy things. It's where to go to get your staples that don't go bad. Because for low price, you can get like a 20-pound box of tortillas. And then you have all the tortillas you need for a while. A 10-pound box of American cheese. Which I'll admit I am slightly concerned I won't be able to completely use by the time it goes bad. But I am gonna see about.
Hang on. My headphones got unplugged.
Tom, did you know? Hello.
Hang on a second. What's up?
Did you know that you can just that anyone can go into restaurant supply stores and buy things?
I did not.
Yeah. Guess who has 20 pounds of macaroni and like 10 pounds of American cheese and 2 big gallon cans of pasta sauce that I need to wait for Tupperware to get here so I can repackage it into a way that they can then draw from. And it's so affordable. Like, it's not where you want... Like, the cheese was probably a bad idea. I think a lot of the American cheese might go bad before I finish working through it, because that's a lot of cheese. Like, I also got a crate of eggs, and I'm like, oh, I should get eggs. And I got the smallest crate, and I didn't realize that it was 15 dozen eggs. So right now my fridge is full of eggs and American cheese.
I don't care.
But, yeah. Welcome back. Do you have food now?
I have food, but I think I got disconnected from the server.
You did not.
I have. I haven't left yet.
I can boot you and make you be disconnected.
Yes, please.
Be gone, Mal.
There we go. Yeah, see, I was like gone. No, I wasn't like gone.
I mean, of course you're not gone. You don't have the spiky hair. You're too old, and you're not anime.
Boy.
But yes. I think we're ready for the third day. Yes?
Yes.
So on the third day, Theodora comes and escorts you down to a room that you explored earlier. Where you can see sitting on the big throne that Gorin sat on earlier is Adrastus Thorn. Looking across the room at you as you come in. And his eyes like rest for a moment on Gorin's new unholy symbol. His eyebrow arching. And his eyes just waiting for a moment there before moving on to turn. So he goes, yes. Have you enjoyed your gifts?
Very much. Proudly, kind of poses just a tiny bit with his new appearance.
Yes. Theodora tells me that I need a new halfling man. And
Sorry.
I should consider a new door. And the iron circlets. Has Dern been able to tell you how they work?
Mm-hmm.
Are you Asmodeus sided up a little?
Yes.
I see, yes.
He's got his holy symbol out. He's got his look. He's very much Asmodeus.
Thorn will take 2 small boxes out of his pocket and hold them before you and levitate them over to you across the room. As he says, those iron circlets, in addition to matters of vanity, will allow you to move amongst your enemies as though you were one of them. These amulets are to remind you of your true loyalties. And each of you has a small black jewelry box.
I guess I'll open the box.
Inside is a silver unholy symbol of Asmodeus with 5 rubies on the outside. It's the same one that Trick was wearing earlier, Gorin.
Squee of absolute joy.
Yes. The iron circlets enable you to be my agents The silver amulets remind you of your loyalty. Everything else, well, you will need it now. You've done well to escape from Branderscar, and you've been wise to accept my offer, but you are not ready for my service. Theodora will lead you into the basement of my domicile. There you will find 9 chambers, each more dangerous than the last. Somewhere, hidden within these chambers, is a pendant of silver and sapphire. Recover it and bring it to me. Let nothing stand in your way.
Not quickly.
He looks out the window. It's a beautiful sunny day, and he waves his hand. He waves his hand, and the sun moves through the sky very rapidly as dusk falls. He puts his hand up. Yes, good. It is dusk. You will have until dusk tomorrow to bring me my prize. Do not fail me.
Let's go, brother.
As Theodora goes, yes, this way, and gestures for you to follow.
Happily puts on my new holy symbol, looking just like the whole world's been made for him.
And we're going downstairs. She leads you up and over here into a storage room. And she gestures to a stairwell down there.
Let's go, brother.
Alright.
She goes, yes, there is the 9 lessons. And she just walks away.
I know those.
Yes. As you walk down the stairs to an open archway, and Gorin will see above the archway something familiar carved in the common tongue. Deception is a tool. Deceive, self-deception is death. Deceive always thy enemy, but never thyself. The room beyond the archway is lit by a small oil lantern hanging from the center of the chamber. There's a doorway to the east on the far side of the chamber.
Can I start looking around the room for traps and like secret passageways?
Sure, go ahead and give me a perception check. And
Perception.
actually, there's a bit going on here, so why don't you tell me where you want to look and give me a perception check.
Doors over here. That's like, hang on, ping. Where's my pingy?
to your ping.
That's right. Background here.
Okay, we'll do that bit. We'll do that first. Give me a perception check. So, you actually find that wall has a small little niche hidden inside of it. And within that niche, there's an inscription and a jewel. A clear jewel that glows with a pale blue light. The inscription says, "Thou hast seen through deception to uncover a useful tool."
I'm going to pick up the gem and hold it up proudly to my brother.
It's sort of like a large it's a large clear crystal, 8 sides. The top and the bottom come to points, but not like carved points, like snapped points. And in the center is a small ball of something that casts an eerie, cool blue light. And this crystal is cold to the touch.
I will ritual cast identify.
So this is not magical.
It's not magical.
It is not magical. Let me take a look at our skills here and see if there's a skill here that's appropriate. Let's say that I do think Arcana is the most appropriate skill here.
Right.
So, as you're getting ready to identify it and realizing that there's no magic, you stop and look and realize that this is a fragile piece of quartz, and inside it is sealed a very unstable alchemical solution that's not normally used. There's another unstable alchemical solution that's similar to it, that is more commonly used, called alchemist's fire. But its far more unstable cousin, alchemist's ice, is rare. Essentially, that gem is a vial of alchemist's fire, but it does cold instead of
Well, that's
fire.
cool.
Neat.
Yeah. I don't think I made the custom item for it, so. Oh, someone actually showed up to watch and then left when we didn't respond to the chat. R.I.P. Dabblemon69. I have no clue when you showed up. I would prefer to imagine that Dabblemon showed up and then there was a bunch of gay involving torture and a kobold and a halfling, and Dabblemon decided to nope out.
Nope.
That will be my headcanon.
So we have a thing of alchemist ice.
Yes. Who wants to hold it? Because it is fragile and unstable.
I'll hold on to it.
That seems like a good idea. The ability for you to deal something besides physical damage would be helpful.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
I'm going to look for traps around the door and the floor and the ceiling and the walls around it.
Oh, whoever was it, just that guy who just left following, so I guess they weren't freaked out. So what are you doing? So where are you looking? Okay, make your
For
perception
traps,
check.
for traps along the floor, the door, and the walls. Looking for traps.
Go ahead and make your perception check. So you're going to be very, very happy that you made that. As you are getting ready to search and step right where you put your token, you go, oh, there's a pit trap here. As you kind of lean over and purposefully trip it, you see it leads down into a spiked bottom of the pit.
I found the trap, big brother.
Yeah, that would have made us Swiss cheese.
And there doesn't look like there's any other doors in this room other than the one in front of the pit trap.
There does not, although you, with that perception roll, you also see that at the bottom of the pit there is something carved in there, but you can't quite make out what was carved down there. It looks like it's carved carved upside down so that someone laying down there after falling might see it and read it.
Gotcha. Let's see if there's any along this wall. Any secret doors here?
All right. You don't see any. Mal, no.
Can I use my tail to try to reach out and open the door?
Sure. Make me a dexterity saving throw. We'll use that. Welcome back.
My internet keeps pooping for some reason.
So you manage to get that door open, and beyond that door is a brick wall. The door opens to the same stone wall as everything else.
It's almost like you failed.
I might start tracing along the walls, feeling them and touching them and trying to see if I can find another hidden door anywhere.
Sure. Go ahead and make a perception check with advantage. Not that you needed it, but yeah. You do find a hidden door. Right there. Like when you've gone through in your cursory look earlier, you hadn't noticed it. But this time you see it.
Big brother, I found a door.
Good work.
Checking for traps.
Okay. You see no traps.
Alright. And open.
Past the door is a short hallway and a large wooden door with another inscription carved into it.
Let's go.
And once again, Gorin finds it perhaps familiar. Following the herd is for fools. Fear not their icy derision. Instead, fear only thy infernal lord.
Let's open up the door.
So this is a large stone chamber. There are doors in each of the cardinal direction, and the entire chamber seems strangely cold. The ground is dirty and dusty, and near the western door, you can see frost beginning to coat the wall, the floor and wall. Around a sort of strange, pulsating violet mold that covers the western door.
Big brother, what's that?
I'm assuming I could do a nature check on that?
You could, yeah.
I don't know.
Neither of you has any clue what it is.
Do you have any magic that can hit it from afar?
I do. I'm out of character remembering how this thing is, but in character know that he wouldn't know. So I'm gonna firebolt it.
Nope. That's not what I wanted to make bigger. What I want bigger is on the background layer. Okay.
It just got bigger.
Yes, the violet mold on the door starts spreading out into the walls, and the icy frost expands through the room, and it gets colder in here.
Well, that didn't help at all.
Do you have anything that makes it cold?
I literally have firebolt and support spells.
Wait. Picks up the gem of alchemist ice. If fire makes it big, then maybe cold makes it small. Throws the gem at it.
Okay. Make a ranged attack. I'm pretty sure it's a don't roll a 1 situation. Did you roll a 1?
What?
So the good news is that as you pull that out and drop it and it hits the floor, breaking open and starts rolling through, it does spray some of the alchemist's fire onto the alchemist's ice onto the violet fungi, which immediately dies. The bad news is it sprays alchemist's ice onto both of you. Kindly make reflex saves.
Good thing I have advantage on my reflex
Or,
saves.
excuse me, dexterity saves is what it's called in 5e.
Wow!
So, both of you will take half damage. None if you have something that makes you take none on a successful save.
Nope, evasion's level 3.
None it is. As Goran goes, aha, and drops this crystal, and it starts spinning and hits the ground and breaks and bounces, spraying just this thick, almost blue fire everywhere. And you all dodge it, but it's Everything's cold, and you can see ice where the fire hit the wall and the floor.
Please be more careful next time.
I did it.
You almost nearly killed us.
I'm sorry. I was just excited. I didn't know there was going to be frost on the gem. I didn't realize. I'm sorry. It was slippery.
I'm going to start heading towards the door that just got opened up.
Well, the door's not open, but the violet mold is gone, and you can read the inscription that it was covering on the door. Thou hast made thy own path.
I will check it for traps real quick.
There's no traps.
I will open up the door.
Oh no, the trap.
Oh, the trap!
Does not exist. There is no trap. That you know of.
Yep.
As it opens into a long, dark hallway.
Dark.
Yeah, that previous room was lit by an oil lantern, but yeah, these dark hallways, your dark vision works just fine.
Yay for the kobold crew. Are you coming, Gordon?
I'm sorry. I was eating my cereal.
You don't need to keep ahead of me. I have a pretty much equal AC to you.
So at the end of this, you see another door. This one says, "Know your enemy. Shatter all that binds you, and then burn thy adversary to ashes."
That's something we're good at burning. I'll open up the door.
Alrighty then. One moment. Beyond is darkness. Well, not really. Because you can see in dark with dark vision. But like it's sort of awkward, right? You
Black
can
and white.
there's the black and white dark vision. And everything is more grayed out here. Like, you can tell there's some sort of strange energy emanating from this black orb in the middle of the room. But it doesn't actually affect you because you have dark vision.
Ritual casting identify!
You recognize it as an orb of darkness. Radiating darkness as per the darkness spell. While you're standing there doing your perception-y business, would you kindly make a perception check?
Oh no, not perception checks.
Yeah, everything's fine.
He defeated both of us.
Everything is fine. Wait, is this really fine? It's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna get out my crossbow. Step back.
Didn't already have your weapon out?
I'm gonna shoot the gem.
Yeah, shoot the orb.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to run us through Goran's thought process here?
But if I roll it away, that means we'll be able to see more of the room.
Oh, you can see everything in the room perfectly.
Oh.
Yeah.
You have dark vision. I mean, the hallway wasn't lit either.
Is there anything else in this room too?
That you see, no. Well, I mean, yes, there are 2 doors out.
I'm going to check the ground for traps.
Okay.
I've already dealt with 1 pit trap. I'm going to look for more.
In the ground immediately in front of you, you see no traps. You step into the room. Okay.
Thinking back on the inscription, it says knowing it by enemy, though, so...
Yes, speaking of that... Nothing happens yet. You're fine. In fact, you may make another perception check. Aaron?
Maybe. There we go. I rolled an 18. I rolled a 19, but I have a -1.
So I'm going to give disadvantage on this because of the attack. So you see, like, out of the corner of your eye as you kind of crouch down to look at the orb, wondering, what's this about an enemy? A black upon black arm that was about to touch you. And as you kind of step back in shock, you see it hovering there, a ghostly form of mist with sort of a skeletal image inside.
Oh, I like it.
And it's initiative, I do believe. Goran, you see this thing that almost touched Dern.
Shatter all that blinds you, and then burn thy adversary to ashes.
That being said, nothing blinds us. Literally only the enemy and the ashes thing is what blinds us.
Maybe light will hurt it though.
It's possible.
Because it's in the darkness right now, right?
Yes. Everything inside the room is darkness.
Going after the tenants. The exact tenant. Because I wrote all these down.
Yep.
Know your enemy, shatter all that blinds you, and then burn thy adversary to ashes. So, yeah, I'm going to go for destroying the stone.
Okay.
I'm going to shoot with my crossbow. Where are you? There you are.
You fire, and the stone shatters. And with it, the darkness goes away.
Goes to the light.
And the lantern on the ceiling starts to work again.
Did that look like it hurt it at all?
The thing kind of flinches from the light. And it goes to attack Dern. With disadvantage because it's in light.
Not that that wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have hit anyways.
Yeah. Dern.
This is bad because I don't have a magical weapon because I put my magic onto my shield.
you're within 5 feet of it.
Yes, that means you have advantage. I don't.
It looks like a sort of red blood mist with a sort of black skeleton within it. Now that the light's there, you can see the color again.
I'm assuming if I want to firebolt, I have disadvantage.
Why?
Because I'm in close range with a ranged attack.
I'm not aware of anything like that. What did you roll for, Gorin?
Yeah, what do you roll? It's my turn.
Oh, sorry.
I'll firebolt it.
Okay.
I don't know why I rolled.
So you'll actually have advantage on that attack, Dern, because it's in light. And because of that, you will hit.
Yay! Firebolt.
Ow.
Your firebolt hits and burns away some of the mist. Gorin.
I'm gonna try to shoot it.
That will hit.
Would I get sneak attack against it?
What are your conditions for sneak attack?
Advantage.
Advantage. You have advantage. Yes, you do.
Okay, I didn't know if sneak attack damage would work on this thing.
You have advantage on it. And you get sneak attack.
I also gave an allies within 5 feet of it.
Yes.
Yes, you have double sneak attack on this bitch.
Yeah, it is looking maybe not super great.
Just blast it right through the head.
As it goes around towards Gorin, provoking theoretical attacks of opportunity.
It doesn't, does it? Because it didn't leave my threat
It
square.
went through yours.
Oh, that's right.
It didn't leave it.
It didn't leave Dern's threat.
It stayed in my threatened square.
And tries to touch Gorin, but doesn't because it's in the sunlight.
Bonus action, disengage.
This is on your turn.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's
I
Dern's
keep
turn.
thinking it's my turn for some reason when it's yours.
No, it's me.
I'm sorry.
And I
For
get
some reason I think I'm Dern.
Kill steerer Gorin.
Firebolt.
That will hit. Now it's Gorin's turn to do all the cool things.
Disengage.
Okay.
That's a bonus action. And snipe it.
Yep, that'll hit.
You do so much fucking
As it
damage.
dissolves away, 15 being much greater than 1.
I have a question, Tom. What is Gorin's AC?
17.
Ah, so I have AC than you.
Yeah.
I am the tank. You are the damage.
I hit hard. If I have advantage, or if you are within 5 feet of them, I hit really hard.
Yes, which you have both advantage. You always have advantage if you're within 5 feet of them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new person who's appeared in this chat. We're in the watching window because I didn't close the users in chat window. Hi, Strip Thing. We don't look at chat usually.
Strip thing.
Yeah. It's such an appropriate username for what was happening like an hour ago.
So there's a door here and here, right?
Yes, there's a door to the north and to the east. And shattered pieces of black glass all across the floor. I mean, Gorin did make your lives easier, but Gorin also cost you magical treasure.
Yes. And the funny part, he didn't make our life any easier. easier because none of the attacks actually hit us. Even with the disadvantage.
Oh, I mean...
It's an attack.
I was just trying to help. I was going off of what it said on the door.
And it was handy. It helped us deal with it faster.
Yeah. And, you know, if I hadn't rolled like crap, you may have potentially encountered our wonderful...
Oh.
bat damage.
Is that damage?
That's its theoretical damage, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, it also heals that.
Yeah, half of those attacks would have one-shotted me.
And the target's hit point maximum is reduced by an amount equal to necrotic damage taken.
Tom, you only have 9 HP?
Yeah, I have HP.
Yeah, this is a nasty creature that deals that damage to you, not to your hit points, to your maximum hit points.
Oof.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why I am ranged now.
So which door should we go through? The northern door or the eastern door?
North.
Sure.
Okay. There is a door. And it opens to a short hallway with an inscription. Cruelty is not a tool. Cruelty is a tool, not a pastime.
Aww.
Be ruthless to thy enemy, but reward those who serve thee well. What do you do?
Let's open the door.
In this room, there is a torture rack. It seems to be freshly cleaned, oiled, and ready for use. There's a table to the side with a number of torturer's tools, and nothing else.
I'm going to start searching the walls, looking for any secret doors. There might be another way out. Going slow and just kind of rubbing my paws along it.
Because you're running your paws and being so active, you have advantage, but you will also trigger any traps.
No traps.
You find a small little door low to the ground in the very corner.
Ooh, sneaky door. Sneaky door. Let's open the sneaky door.
As you open the door, the boy, maybe 15 or so, who's hiding within, curled up in a ball, turns and kind of pushes himself back against the wall, looking at you with terror.
Hi.
Do you have your unholy symbol of Asmodeus out?
It would be any tucked into my shirt.
Okay. Have you disguised the circlet, which has an unholy symbol of Asmodeus?
Yes, mine would look like, would I be able to make it look like a third horn?
Sure.
I have 3 horns. I'm cool.
How about to Dern?
I would make mine match, actually look like the jewelry that is on my picture.
Okay. So, yeah. boy is sitting there looking at you, and he stops for a moment and goes, "Thou kobolds, have you come up from below? Have you come up from below?"
You know that's an insult to us, right?
Yeah,
To us, you soft skins are the people who come to our warrens, attack us, kill us, and take the gold and treasures that we mine.
Not mention it's not a good idea to be rude to the people who can get you out of there.
I thank you, but if you have a way out below, we should flee this place of nightmares.
What's in here?
It's a madhouse. It's a terrible madhouse.
Can you be more specific about why it's a madhouse? We already killed a ghostly mist thing.
I haven't explored. I've been hiding here. My master and I, we were kidnapped by a horrible monster and the man it serves. And they came back here, and I barely managed to hide. I heard them speaking, and there's no escape. There are vicious cobras crafted from mithril. There's a secret door that hides the way out. Some shrieking monster that screams if one has light so that one cannot even see. And the shrieks of the monster bring the drowned men to life. Oh, I hope that Sir Balin has escaped this terrible madhouse.
Are you an idiot?
No.
Then why aren't you doing something about this then?
Because I'm not an idiot. I'm but a squire.
And people call me a lowly kobold, yet look at me.
Yeah, as it just happens, these two little kobolds just dealt with one of that darkness monster of yours.
What darkness monster? I haven't heard of a darkness monster.
There was one in the room just outside this one.
We killed it.
Then, are you the salvation that Mitra has sent?
I'm going to walk up to him and poke his chest. Mitra didn't send us. We chose to come here. Just like you need to choose to help yourself.
Oh, the Lord Mitra works in such mysterious ways.
No. What? No? You're completely missing the point here.
I think the point my younger brother's trying to say is to man up a little bit. Fight for what you believe in, and help us get out of here. We'll help you, you help us.
You need to be willing to do what you need to do. You need to have that willingness to fight for yourself no matter what. No matter what anyone else says, you need to do what you need to do. You can't just cower here. Otherwise you're just going to be food for whatever finds you.
He holds out his hands. I have no weapons. I'm not a wizard. I'm nothing but a squire.
No. What's your name?
Timian. Squire Timian of Ballantine.
No, you're Timian. Forget Squire. Forget that Ballantine thing. You're Timian.
He looks at you. Now, I can forgive you because you're but a foul kobold, but I cannot forget of Ballantine. I may be a lesser son, but I am still a son of the noble house Ballantine.
Well, let me ask you something, Timian. Do you want to get back to Ballantine?
In time, when my squireship is finished, I hope I may take up a position as a knight at Ballantine.
Well, you're not going to finish your squireship cowering in the corner, now are you?
I suppose.
So as I said, you help us get out, we'll help you get out. Now, come along.
Do you have a blade?
I draw my rapier and offer it to him.
Characters. Scroll through all the characters. There you are. Equipment. Add equipment. Where is my add equipment button?
It's in the manage equipment.
I know. I don't have my equipment, my thing full screen, so the manage equipment button wasn't there. Rapier. Add. Equip. Squire Timian now has a rapier.
So what's this Ballantine place you're talking about?
Oh, well, it is a place, but it's also a family. The noble family House Ballantine. We have estates near the North Watch Wall, and we rule over a great many hectares of fields and orchards. We also are responsible for the funding and maintenance of the Tower Ballantine, which is one of the many gates along the watch wall. It's a place of my childhood.
Do you know a lot about that place?
A little bit. I know that Sir Haviland is just... It was Sir Haviland who led me to want to be a knight. And I'm grateful that I'm a lesser son, or my father would have certainly denied me being such a squire.
Why do you want to be a knight?
I look up to Sir Thomas Haviland, his honor, his respect, the way he steps forward to defend the meek, push the light of Mitra into the world.
And yet, wow, you're kind of mean.
To protect the meek is the duty of a knight.
And yet, look at you, trying to be a knight, and the first thing you said to me was foul kobold and lesser kobold, and you've insulted me like 8 times in this conversation alone when I just tried to help you. Because of what I look like.
It's common knowledge that kobolds, when they encounter civilization, steal children and crops and gold, disrupt commerce.
You want to know why kobold dwarves do that?
No, Goran.
I've told it's because you have delusions that you are dragons.
Well, I mean, we are little dragons, but no, you, softskins, keep attacking us when we want to mine. That's our job. We're supposed to be miners. We're supposed to get the Earth's treasures. And we keep building, we keep going, and then you softskins come and attack us. So we have to build traps to protect ourselves. Because otherwise, you guys are going to run roughshod all over us.
I'm just gonna pipe up. I would love to stick here and keep talking about philosophy as much as the next guy, but we should really be getting out of here.
Yes.
You can reprimand the human later, Goran.
Perhaps when we are free from this place, and we have rescued Sir Balin, we can go to Ballantine and open a new age of communications between the knights and the honorable kobold.
See, he's doing better. I mean, to me, you humans just take and steal whatever you want.
Well, let's get back and try the east door this time.
Alright, big brother.
So do you remember the name of the guy who captured you?
Sir Balin.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Was he the one who caught me too?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just imagine when he said that name, me and you kind of shared a look between each other.
Like I twitched.
Just a wide, excited smile. The
So
sort
you
of
did.
smile you know is when Goran really wants to go stabby stab.
So you did that, huh? Give me one moment.
We have no eye twitches.
Oh yeah. Timian doesn't notice a thing.
Timian is too busy peeing his pants.
Oh no, Timian's been done with that for a while now.
Oh, no more pee?
Alright, so do you know anything about what might be over through the store at all?
From what I've heard, down that way are the metal cobras.
I'm just going to look over at Dern. Dern, no pets.
What? I didn't say anything about pets. Now, metal cobras, huh?
I'm going to kneel down, take aim, and wait for him to open the door.
Would I know anything about metal cobras, Kip?
This would be, I suppose, an Arcana check. Yeah, you know that there's a kind of construct that's made a lot of times called an iron cobra. It tends to be made out of iron. It is immune to almost all sorts of damage from physical sources, and is normally used to track creatures, not guard places. They're perhaps fragile, but because they are so difficult to harm with non-magical means, and even with magical means, they tend to be resistant to magic. They're normally made specifically to track down specific individuals.
I don't think Timian here is going to be helpful fighting those snakes.
He says, he nods, I know, they sound as though they're iron cobras. Iron cobras are very dangerous.
Let me think. I have my magic. Gorn has his crossbow.
I'm ready to fire when ready.
Timian's going to open the door.
Ready to fire if I see a cobra in there.
Beyond this door is a hallway. And Timian will look in the hallway, look at the two of you and go, oh, yes, kobolds can see in the dark. I cannot. Do you mind?
Go ahead.
And he will take the lantern down.
Is it wrong, kid, that I want to corrupt Timian again?
I'll take the lead, Gordon.
Yes, but also the point.
I'll take the lead, Gordon. You, stay behind and get ready to support me from afar.
Cocks the crossbow. My crossbow is now a shotgun. I don't know how that works, but it is.
Cocks the shovel.
Good game. Again.
Give me a moment.
And get ready to fire.
Give me a moment.
I will open the door.
Alrighty then. You may make a perception check. Actually, before you open that, do you want to read the inscription?
Oh, yeah, sure.
The inscription says, "The chosen are revealed by their might. The weak deserve no sympathy."
I got randomly disconnected.
Again. Yeah. When you open this room, it is a square room lit by an oil lantern. And there's a door to the south. Timian, seeing that Gorin has a bow, will draw the rapier to stand alongside Dern. What was that, Tom?
Perception roll.
You see nothing.
I see nothing.
Timian can see nothing.
I'll step into the room.
Alright. Timian shall do the same.
Watch for him. Ready to shoot if I see anything.
You may make a perception check, Gorin.
I'm overwatching you guys.
Gorin, you see, as you're watching, the ground itself slithering.
Watch out!
And right before they rear up to attack, you're aware of them, and we have initiative. 24, 20, 12, and Timian. Timian, what is your initiative? It's garbage. Why are you so bad, Timian?
He hasn't been trained yet.
Gorin.
I'm going to shoot the one that's going for Timian.
Okay.
Saskin, watch out!
Or do you have advantage on that?
Oh.
It's with any allies within right next to them.
Okay, well, 27 does hit. Okay. Clink. You fire, and you watch your bolt bounce off of the cobra, leaving a small dent in its scale.
Jesus!
Even with the magical?
What's magical?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Repeating shot makes it count as a magic weapon.
That's information. Then, yeah, it pierces through, and okay.
up to attack, goes through its jaw and slams into the ground.
Dern.
I will be firebolting the mithril kobold too.
Okay. Please make your attack with disadvantage.
And I have advantage because Timian's nearby, so it cancels out.
Okay. So you fire the bolt, and the bolt hits square the rising cobra folds. And the fire seems to catch those cobra folds and flow within the creature. And Dern, as you're looking at it, you know enough to go, this isn't made of iron. This is made of mithril.
Uh-oh.
As it opens its mouth and its fangs extend and drip with a poison that you were not expecting. It's does 14 hit Dern? No.
18 is my AC.
Timian flips around to the cobra and goes, there will be, goes, Mitra's light will shine upon thee, and strikes it with the rapier. The cling of metal on metal echoing through the chamber as Timian almost stumbles backwards as the mithril drives all of the force of his blow back, dealing no damage. Goran.
Cock to the crossbow.
But remember, you specifically don't need to cock the crossbow.
I know, but it's cool.
That
Why
will
can't I crit on a 19?
That will hit.
There's a feat or something for that.
Striking the cobra in its fold. Dern.
Let's try this firebolt again. That's all I have, really.
That will hit this time. Even though it only takes half damage from magical sources, your fire, the firebolt kind of catches the hole Goran made and melts together, and it collapses. The poison within it, perhaps a little combustible. As Timian looks to the two of you and strikes the two bodies with his sword, doing no damage regardless of how hard he hits. This is powerful.
We look out for ourselves and for each other. We don't rely on anything else but us.
I just imagine Dern leans down to just like poke at the mithril covers. You know, this gives me an idea for something to create later.
Truly an unexpected gift from Mitra.
No, it wasn't. Come on, think for yourself here.
All things. You don't understand. All fortune in this world comes to us from Mitra, and all misfortune from her hated enemy Asmodeus.
I'm just gonna kind of look at Dern.
Isn't Timora the goddess of luck, though? So good fortune wouldn't come from her, wouldn't it?
Timora is the agent who carries Mitra's fortune forward, yes.
In any case, it wasn't luck that brought us here.
From my perspective, it is my fortune that you are here.
In any case, on to the next room.
Wait, would these mithril kobolds be worth anything?
You can make an appraise check.
Probably.
Big brother!
I will. Is there appraise? There's not appraise.
You would appraise with intelligence.
So just a flat int roll?
Yep, it's an int check. Yeah, no. These cobras are worth something. Well, maybe about 100 gold pieces each. But they're heavy. It's 10 pounds per snake.
Yeah, you can carry them if you want. I'm not.
Nope.
So this door to the south here has a metal bar across it.
Can we lift it up?
Go ahead and make me a strength check.
You're funny.
We're kobolds.
I have a -2.
I'm
My strength is
-1.
My strength is 6. Wow.
You're heaving and hoeing, and Timian goes, "Oh, let me, little ones," just as Dern goes, "Wait, lever!"
Oh, that's right, I have a crowbar.
And there's some leverage action, and the bar comes off, and Timian goes, "You are indeed blessed by Mitra, with great cleverness."
Not in the slightest. I would assume my intelligence comes from me.
And Timian completely does not notice Goran going, "Ah!"
Intense internal screaming. I will convert him to the worship of Zodius yet.
I'm picturing at this point it's more external screaming, and Timian is just like, "Yes, yes, roar, little dragon."
In any case, Dern's gonna open the door.
in the slightly racist way that a lot of like upper middle class white liberals can be when they're trying not to be racist and instead to be supportive.
You cheeky dick racist.
You cheeky dick waffle.
Next chamber.
There is, upon this, another inscription.
What's this one say?
"Suffer not the fool. Stupidity is our faith's cardinal sin."
Open up the door.
So, in this room, there's a square chamber with a podium in its center. Above it is a hanging oil lantern. To the east, there's a stairway that leads up to a door. And atop the podium is a silver pendant, a dragon with sapphire eyes.
Remember the first chamber?
Checking for traps then, Goran.
I might check the stairs first. So it might be like the door. Every door we come across here feels like that doesn't lead to another room is trapped.
Okay. The stairs seem fine.
Alright, I'm gonna go along the walls again.
Okay. Again, you can have advantage on this if you want to trigger any traps that you might come across.
You You have nothing. You have nothing to fear from pit traps, at least.
Yeah. Wow.
So as you work your way around, you find nothing.
Can I ritual detect magic?
Certainly. You detect no magic.
What was the pendant we needed to get? Us?
A pendant of silver and sapphire.
And that's the same thing that's in the thing right now?
It does indeed appear to be a silver dragon with sapphire eyes.
Should we see if it's the one we need?
I want to check if it's trapped first.
I will check.
So the pedestal isn't trapped, but as Gorin is looking, Gorin notices something odd about the eyes. And Gorin doesn't know a lot about valuable things. But Gorin does know the difference between a sapphire and a piece of cheap costume jewelry carved to look like a sapphire. Those sapphire eyes are but cut glass.
This isn't real.
Timine goes, "You came here for a pendant?"
Treasure.
Didn't you say that your master Sir Balin was down here?
Yes. Well, maybe. He and I were separated when we were captured. When we ended up here, he stood to fight the beast and told me to flee, and I fled as far as I could.
Which way was this beast?
We fought it in the hallway on the way to the room that you said that the darkness was fought in. I could not flee far. It was a massive beast with many tentacles.
I'm sorry, my internet pooped out again.
It was a massive beast with many tentacles.
No, I got that part. I didn't get the part after the hallway.
That hallway.
That. Yeah, I got it. We should probably find him before we leave.
If he yet lives.
Let's go check the other rooms for any secret doors that might be around.
Timine does look and says, Odd. I could swear that he told the beast to secure the hidden door across from the stairs. Lo and behold, there is a very well hidden door across from these stairs. Right there.
Well, it's a good thing you overheard that, or we would have never seen this.
Seems like Mitra grants fortune not just to me, but to you today.
Or it was just happens of circumstance.
Is that not what fortune is?
In any case,
I think we were warned here about the shrieking monster and the drowned men.
Do I know anything about shrieking monsters and drowned men?
Our nature and religion.
I have +4 in either. So,
Tell me which is which.
religion.
Drowned men, that's done. So nature. There's not a lot to go on there, but there are a lot of creatures that will shriek to try to scare off things. There's shrieking mushrooms. Heck, Gorin shrieks at things to try to scare them off sometimes.
That's just cool.
But you think it may be a shrieking mushroom, a violet shrieker, because specifically Squire Timian mentions it screeches at the sight of light.
So it'd be a good idea.
Timmy, you're gonna have to put out that light then.
I'll need to trust you to guide me.
I mean, we haven't hurt you yet, have we?
He puts out the light and goes, "No, but I cannot see in the dark."
Darren will grab the Squire Timian's hand and start leading him along.
All right. I will grant you ownership of Squire Timian, so you can lead Squire Timian along. There's a door here. Its inscription says, "Secrecy is our greatest ally. Exposure brings death."
Keep quiet and in the dark.
Open the door very quietly.
So this room is completely dark. In the center, you can see a patch of bare earth surrounded by a small brick circle. And in that soil grows a single purple mushroom with a strange bulbous cap that Dern recognizes immediately. That is a shrieker. There's a door to the west. Is that how you're moving, Dern?
No, I'm not going specifically towards it. There's no easy way to maneuver exactly how I want to go while also moving Squire Timian.
Okay, stop for a moment. You can move in, and then you can move Squire Timian.
Yeah, I mean, I was just dragged to move both of us at the same time.
Okay. So everyone's hugging the wall.
Yes.
Yep.
I will
Okay.
keep Timian hugging.
And there's a door.
Open the door quietly.
Okay. The door here says, "Beware the fallen, for they may rise once more to threaten you."
I will go to open the door.
This room beyond is lit by a oil lantern. There are 6 coffins rotting here, dripping of, encased with salt brine and smelling of the sea and dried seaweed. Would you roll initiative for me?
What's going on?
Would you roll initiative for me?
Stealth?
Okay. Squire Timian goes, "Light, dear light," and walks in towards the door. Dern.
I will also attempt to stealth and go in. I bet it's stealth.
It's like me fades into the darkness somehow, even in this light, and sneaks quietly through, slipping from shadow to shadow. You two, stomp, 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 stomp.
Smash! I'm sorry?
To be fair, I'm wearing a chain shirt, so I'm not very stealthy.
And then, out of this corner, smashing out of one of these coffins, is a corpse, rotted and awkwardly bloated by seawater. Goran.
I'm gonna snipe it. And I'd have advantage since I'm stealth and it hasn't seen me?
Yes.
Booyah.
So that will hit. And alrighty then.
And then bonus action, hide again. Just like peeks out, shoots, and then immediately vanishes back into the shadows.
Do you have something that lets you hide without anything to hide behind?
Could I hide behind one of these?
You could. Yes.
I'll do that.
Alrighty. Timian will draw his blade and say, "Get behind me. Get behind me, Dern. Come at me, foul priest," and hold a weapon ready to strike. As it comes up, Dern.
Firebolt! When?
Okay. It falls to the ground, burning and dying.
Oh, is that a hit?
Oh, I'm sorry, that is not a hit. Yeah, oh yes, that is a hit. Roll damage. I'm sorry. I thought that was your damage. I'm dumb.
That was my hit.
That's 10 hits.
4 is my damage.
In which case, it does not die. As the fire hits it and blows it off. And if this were a living creature, it would be dead, but it still stands. As it stumbles towards Timian, who swings at
You got this.
Who swings at it with a rapier.
You got this, Timian.
Hitting
Look at little Timmy go.
for 5 damage. And slicing this creature in half, and it falls to the ground. Its arms and legs still twitching, but no longer moving. As another one pops out of the coffins over here and stumbles down towards Dern, smacking at him with its arms.
No.
Goran.
My brother.
You have advantage.
That hits. For a very consistent amount of damage.
Yes. Just 16 every time.
As Timian freaks out and goes, "Oh no!" and swings towards this other one that has just popped out. Hitting because these are easy to hit for some damage, which it dies to. Turn.
Take a step towards the door to try to open it, to see if we can open it up.
You certainly can open the door.
I forgot to use my bonus action to hide.
Yes, you did. You did indeed forget that. Beyond the door, there is an open hallway with another door at the far end. That door is barred and locked with a padlock, and there is a key hanging by the wall and an inscription above the door. Gorin.
Move over here. Bonus action to hide. And then I'm going to take aim towards these two areas. Basically this side of the room, ready to shoot if another undead pops up.
Which one? Pick one.
Let's go to this one.
Okay. I better scroll up to double check my awakening order. Okay. Timian will step over here to attempt to guard Dern. Dern.
I'm going to try to read the inscription.
You'll need to get closer.
Step a little bit closer.
Like, close, like it's an inscription. It's not like it's big and you can see across from everywhere. Yeah, the inscription says, "Serve your master well and be rewarded."
And I guess I'll take the keys off the key ring.
Okay. It's a single, big, heavy iron key, just hanging on a hook by the door. Gorin.
Move. Bonus action. Hide in the shadows of the hallway.
Okay.
And take aim. I will cover the same spot again, waiting for Timothy to join me to shut the door.
Timian steps in and you shut the door?
Yep.
Okay. Dern.
I'll go to unlock the door.
You unlock the door. And Yay, combining encounters. This can't possibly go wrong. Beyond the door, which is now closed, so I shall close it. You hear a smash. Followed by Gorin. Dern has just unlocked a door.
Don't open the door.
And speaking of unlocking the door, I need to do that.
Back up.
Okay.
Staying hidden in the shadows with my bonus action.
You don't need to re-roll, it's still there.
Oh, okay. And I'm aiming at the door, ready to shoot anything that opens the door. I'm going to say to Dern, don't open that door yet.
Timian will go, "What does it mean? Serve and be rewarded." It gives you the key to unlock it? Dern.
I have no idea. But we have more important things to worry about now. I want to take a step up to prepare to attack if anything goes to the door.
Yep. There's a smash. And a bit of the door splinters open, revealing the thing on the other side that's looking at you, seawater dripping from its eyes. Everyone gets their prepared little pew pew pews.
Firebolt.
Are you? Yeah, okay. They all hit. Let's do Goran's first. And it still stands.
Wow, more than 22 HP. That's very strong zombie.
And you hear a crack, followed by an Goran. Also, I need to make this roll again. There we go.
Bonus action hide.
You attempt to hide behind Dern, the zombie watching you as you do.
I'll just try to shoot it.
That hits. Roll damage. Come on, 16. It dies. Timian goes, "They keep coming, master. They keep coming, small ones." Dern.
I think I got hold on. I was going to get disconnected.
You did get disconnected.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
The internet keeps dying for no reason.
Oh, I'm sure the reason is people. This is probably COVID strain.
Oh, so that zombie's dead?
Yep, it's your turn.
I'll prepare an action if I see any more to shoot a firebolt at it.
Okay. This time the Draugr bursts through the hole the other one made.
Firebolt!
That hits. And previously Timian had said, "They keep coming, small ones." And from the room behind you, you hear a voice go, "Timian? Timian, is that you? Are you all right?" Goran.
Get down. Come with me if you want to live. That's a crit.
It's a good thing you had advantage.
Yay!
Finally, I can live the dream.
Yay!
The critical hit sneak attack.
Get down.
Jay, come on, 21. It dies. And as we leave rounded combat, Squartimian goes, "Yes, Sir Balin, I've come. Mitra's light shone upon me, and these small ones came to arm me. We have struck down many beasts, stone cobras, drowned men, but we're here now to rescue you." And goes right to this door that you unlocked and flings it open.
This is gonna get awkward.
And dives right into the arms of Sir Balin, who hugs him back and goes, "Timian, my squire."
Slowly itch back.
Said the small ones came to help you. Gnomes, halflings. He goes, "No, Kobolds, if you can believe it. And Balin goes, kobolds? Mitra does work in mysterious way. And looks up to see Dern as his eyes narrow. And says, get behind me, Timian. I thought I sent the two of you to Branderscar for your crimes. And Timian goes, what?
This is awkward.
It was fun while it lasted.
Timian steps back and goes, I don't understand. Branderscar is for the irredeemable. Why would Mitra send the irredeemable to save me?
Because we chose to help you.
Didn't you say it wasn't Mitra? Like a dozen times or so?
Balin goes, be cautious. The Red One is an eater of man flesh. The Green One attempted to steal the old royal throne from the temple. Timian goes, but they gave me this rapier and fought alongside me to get here to save you.
I mean, we couldn't leave you alone.
Goran, you can see hanging around Sir Balin's neck is a very obvious silver holy symbol of Mitra, which is kind of like an Eastern cross with 4 glistening sapphires in the cardinal directions.
I'm just gonna look over at her. This really is awkward.
You should say that.
Well, we're both here to bring you back up.
I know not. He draws a sword and points it over towards you, Goran. I know not what devilry has allowed you to be free, but you are forsaken of Mitra, and I swear by the Shining Lord I will see this injustice righted.
Whoa! I'm here to help you. I'm not going to hurt either of you. I'm here to take you back up.
Yeah, the only injustice I see is you pointing that sword at us.
We're not going to hurt you. We have no desire to shoot you or stab you or do anything to you. We're going to lead you out of here. Both of you.
Timian looks and goes, they've protected me, and Balin goes, trust not the little one. How many men have you killed this week, little one?
To be fair, most of those people tried to kill me, and so it seems.
How many, little one?
10 or 15.
Timian's looking and going, but
I would like to say those people tried to kill me first.
and there were no innocents you slayed this week.